Hail, it's Starzy, and today we are going to be doing my October wrap-up. It is a pretty dark day, and it's moving into the evening, so if we are slightly unfocused, that'll be why. In October, my focus generally really is movies, because I watched 31 spooky movies in October. I did successfully complete that for the third year in a row, but I won't be talking about the movies today. But despite that, I did actually read more than either of the previous Octobers somehow. So we're just going to talk about the things I read today. I don't think I have any other updates in particular since I just filmed my September wrap-up. So the first thing I read in October, I have spoken about in my last vlog, and that was The Lying Game, which is a thriller that is about a group of women who come back together as adults, and they're drawn back together by secrets they share from when they were teenagers, and stuff unravels from there. I didn't really like this, wasn't satisfied with how the plot went, didn't like the characters, think they deserved worse, and just unnecessary lying. I know it's called The Lying Game, but some of, it was so stupid, and I don't know. At this point, I don't even have anything to say about it. I had my little rant in that vlog. The next things I read, however, I did enjoy. So I read the first volume of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is obviously an anime from my childhood that I love a lot. When I was about 4 years old, I had a Sailor Moon costume that I refused to ever take off. I do also have Sailor Moon and Usagi cosplays now as an adult. So love for this never really faded, but I'd never read the manga. So I went and read the first volume of this. Technically this box set belongs to the little sibling, and it's a Christmas gift I gave them one year, but I'm currently borrowing them. Yeah, this was just beautifully nostalgic and also really interesting to see the source material and, you know, what's kind of different or the same. Like the fact that, you know, Tuxedo Mask is aged up in the anime is one of those uncomfortable changes. He's at least a teenager in school like the rest of them in this. Yeah, very nostalgic, and I really enjoyed this first volume quite a lot. And as I was reading it, I was like sending screenshots to my little sibling. He's just so cute. And also just Usagi just radiates freaking queer energy. He's always talking about how cute everyone is. Everyone. I kind of just assume everyone knows what Sailor Moon is, but I know that's not true for the fact I've brought it up so much in my life and people have just looked at me blankly. So for those who missed out on Sailor Moon, it kind of particularly popularized by the anime from the 90s. It has had a reboot anime since then, but became very popular from there and was played, you know, even on our regular television stations and all that kind of stuff. But it is a magical girl anime, or manga in this case, following Usagi Tsukino. I'm not sure if I'm saying that quite right. It's been many years since I spoke any Japanese. I did used to learn it as a teenager in school. We're following her. She's a 14-year-old girl and then finds out she's a Sailor Guardian, one of these magical girls, and she has to fight evil, essentially. There's a lot more going on than that because they're like reincarnations of people who lived on the moon and all of this kind of stuff. And so it's one of those things where, you know, you suspend your disbelief a little bit, but I love Sailor Moon a lot. I then went and read volume 2, and I didn't love this one as much. I think just like plot-wise, there were a few things that I was about, particularly. I think that, yeah, this was the one where the Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon find out who each other, like who they are, and Tuxedo Mask is taken away. Where volume 1, I was like, nostalgia, I love this. I actually really appreciate how everything's done. 5 stars. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars because I wasn't quite as in love with it and quite as believing everything, I guess. But still really enjoying this and looking forward to continuing reading this manga. I then listened to The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. Now I listened to this entire audiobook and I could not tell you like what happened at all other than some people dying. This is a horror story that takes a lot from horror tropes and horror movies, and the characters themselves do directly discuss a lot of things while, you know, there's people dying and stuff around them. But the thing about this is the way it's written is like a film script. Although I would even suggest possibly more confusing than some actual scripts. And also because I was listening to it, I just could not follow what was going on at all. So retained very little, followed very little. I just don't think the writing style of this book, especially in audiobook format, which I can have trouble following along with in general, don't think that really worked for me. Could tell you very little about this book, so I didn't rate it. That wouldn't be fair, but I did listen to the entire thing. I then read Illusionary by Zoraida Cordova, which is the sequel to Incendiary, which is a YA fantasy that I read much earlier this year. Rebellion, memory magic, betrayal, interesting relationships. I don't know, I did quite enjoy the first one. This one I felt kind of very okay about, and I think it came down to a few things. Like, some of the character betrayals felt very different from the first book, and also there was kind of like a lot of scenes that felt kind of very rushed through and we were jumping from place to place, and I didn't love everything about the way the plot unfolded, and so yeah, I just felt very okay about this. So it was a little disappointing because I enjoyed the first one a lot more. I did kind of like how the romance was building at the start. There were some interesting dynamics there, but overall it was kind of just okay, you know? It wasn't bad, it was just okay. I also read Falling from Grace by Jane Godwin, which I read this because it's what kids at school are studying at the moment, so I don't have a lot to say about it. It's okay, I guess, but it's like a kind of mystery vibes where a girl named Grace goes missing on the beach at the beginning. Things kind of unfold from there and you're following two main perspectives. That's what this is. Then the last thing that I read, that I listened to, I'm technically not finished, but I have less than an hour left of the audiobook, so I'm just gonna wrap it up now. October doesn't end until tomorrow anyway. The Beast by Katie Robert, which is part of the Wicked Villain series. I think this is technically the fourth and the third one I've read, and this is a romance between Beast, Belle, and Gaeton, he's called in this world, and these are basically like Disney fan fiction in a contemporary crime world. And I'm not loving this one, but it's kind of more just like personal taste and preference. It's probably going to sound silly to some people, but I do read the smutty romances for the plot and characters. So, not loving the plot and characters in this one, Tink's small cameo was a highlight because I really enjoyed her as a character. And also outside of that, just, yeah, not my personal preference for like everything going on in this book. But I'm still like determined to finish it because I'm kind of determined to finish this entire series at this point because I'm so far through it, although I'm still not sure if I'm going to read Desperate Measures because too many negative feelings towards Disney's Jafar. But yeah, definitely not my fave in the series, but personal preference, not that there's necessarily anything wrong with it for what it is. But yeah, I think that's everything that I've read in October, which definitely, yeah, more than previous Octobers, considering last October the only book I finished was Horror Store, which is a very short book, and the year before that the only thing I read in October was It, which is not a short book. Yeah, technically I've only completed one book the previous 2 Octobers, so we read some things. And then next month is November, which is also NaNoWriMo, and I want to use it as an excuse to get back into writing because I wrote a lot growing up, poetry, short stories, all of that stuff, and then uni happened and my life was taken over by essays essentially, and I never really got back into it. So don't expect me to necessarily write a 50k novel, but definitely gonna try and use the month to get back into writing to some extent. Otherwise, yeah, I hope everyone has had a nice October. Let me know what you've been reading or what you think of these books. What did you dress up as for Halloween? I would be interested to know. I don't think I have any plans for tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Tomorrow for me, as I'm filming this, is Halloween. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this wrap up, I guess. I will be talking about the 31 movies I watched at some point. I watched a mix of bad and good things, but if you're curious, I have a letterboxd where I've logged everything I've watched. But yeah, that'll be it for today, so stay safe, stay educated, and starzyrts. You're not going to be able to see this makeup properly because it's going to be so washed out from the bad lighting, especially the lipstick. I know it's going to look much lighter, but we've got like, even in the camera right now, this looks gold. This is orange, and we've got orange and black lips, which are darker than they're going to look to you. I just know, but the faux freckles are a thing.